Well, hi there, friends. Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and Brill and I are here today to talk to you about some really special books. But even more than that, we're here to welcome you to 2023. Woohoo! We are officially in January of the brand new year. We've got a whole new year ahead of us and a whole new year of book videos and book recommendations and just amazing books that I can't wait to share with you. I'm very excited about it. So, the beginning of a new year, we start thinking about new reading goals and how many books we want to read and all kinds of different stuff like that. Well, I thought that the best way to start off a new year is by talking about some of the best books that I read last year. So this whole month of January, or most of it actually, we're going to be talking about some of the best books that I read. So your Dragon Librarian read 500 books last year. Whew, whew. Man, I'm tired after that. 500 books. So that's a lot of books, right? So I want to make sure that I get to tell you what some of the best ones were, in my opinion. So of course you might have a completely different opinion and say, wait a minute, Miss Rebecca, I read a bunch of books and none of them are on your list. And that's totally okay. Everybody's different. Everybody likes different things. But I thought I would share with you my favorite books of 2022 that I read. And then maybe you will find something really awesome that you haven't experienced before. Start off this year with a whole new set of books to read if you haven't read these books already. And if there are books that you felt were the best books of the year that I don't get to talk about, make sure you send me an email or come visit me in the library and tell me what they are, because I love to hear about your favorite books. And I love to talk about books, which is not very surprising, right? Okay, so this week we're going to start off by talking about the top 5 favorite books that I read last year in children's fiction. Okay, so this week is the top 5 books, and then the next couple weeks we'll talk about a couple other things as well. So this is going to be the top of the top, the best ones that I read, the ones that I really love, thought were just absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're all really fantastic, right? So I'm not going to lie, this was really hard. It took me a while to narrow it down and say, all right, what are the top 5, the best ones that I just hands down think are absolutely amazing? Okay, so we're going to start with number 5. Number 5 is called The Ogress and the Orphans. Now, this book is by Kelly Barnhill, which is immediately why I picked it up. So I didn't know anything about it, but I picked it up because of this author, Kelly Barnhill. She is the author of the book The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which won a Newbery Award, which was just one of the best children's books ever that I love so, so much. So when I heard that she was writing another book, I was like, you know what? I need this immediately, and I need to read it. And it's fantastic. So this book is about a little village that has fallen on hard times. The mayor who has taken over promises that he is the best person that will fix their village. They need to just all trust him, listen to nobody else, believe him, whatever he says. Because after all, he is a dragon slayer, right? He slays all these evil dragons. Even though nobody has actually ever seen a dragon before or know what that even means. But he has just convinced them he is the best. You got to listen to him. But under his reign, the library has burned down, the school has burned down, people are poor, there's not enough food to eat, nobody trusts each other, their neighbors, and nobody helps each other at all. Well, in the midst of all this, an ogress who has moved into the village, and she keeps to herself. She doesn't really bother anybody or do any harm to anybody, but she is very, very kind. And when she finds out that people are starving and nobody has enough food, she secretly starts leaving people food. Well, one of the orphans happens to go missing in the orphanage, and this is about the ogress and the orphans. So they're both very important characters in the story, as you can tell from this really beautiful cover. So an orphan goes missing, and the mayor decides to blame the ogress, even though the ogress has never shown any meanness or, that she would be doing harm to anybody. He decides to blame her. And because of this, it whips the town people up into a frenzy. So the rest of the orphans have to figure out what happened to their friend, why she disappeared, what is going on with this ogress, and how to protect her, and also how to save their village. So I just want to share one quote with you of this book that I thought was just absolutely beautiful and really just encapsulates the feel of this story. We have been told since we were small that the bad people outnumber the good. But I do not believe that that is true. We have seen in the orphan house recently that it only takes some people doing good to encourage many people to do good. One good person can inspire other people to do good things. Good is not a number. Good is more than that. With good, the more you give, the more you have. It is the best sort of magic. Whew, I'm getting a little teary-eyed just reading that again. This story is just absolutely beautiful. Yes, it is a story about an ogress and orphans and this little, town that is obviously a fantasy type situation, but it's also about kindness and being neighborly and being just nice to people and not thinking that everybody is up to bad things, right? This book is, oh my gosh, absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend it. Number 5 on the list. Whew, for that being number 5, what the heck could top that, right? That's already amazing. Well, number 4, The Marvelers by Dhonielle Clayton. The Marvelers. This is just an amazing cover, first of all. I love it. I am a sucker for a book or a book series about a magical school. Ever since Harry Potter, I've just been addicted to books about magical schools. I can't get enough of them, and this is one of those types of books. So this is about a magical school. I just want to show you this beautiful map on the inside. Well, it's an illustration of the school, of the outside of the school, and it's just beautiful. A map of all the towers and where everything is. It's just absolutely lovely. So, what is this book about? This book is about a magician who is actually a conjurer, whose name is Ella, and she is 12 years old, and she has just been accepted to the Arcanum Institute, which is this big magical school, like I just showed you in the picture, that is in the clouds. Now, Ella is one of the first conjurers to be allowed into this school. It is mostly for, the school is a bunch of different magic types of cultures, and there is magic that is like Irish magic that is like banishing pixies. There's Indian magic, which is brewing different spices and things like that. And it's really amazing how many different beautiful cultural associations there are in this book. Well, anyway, Ella is a conjurer, and she's the first one to be allowed in the school, and it's causing a little bit of a stir. Some people don't believe she should be allowed in the school. Some people think it should just be for a certain type of magician, and that these, she doesn't have what it takes to be a marveler. So she wants to prove them wrong. Obviously, she knows that she's amazing and she can do good work, so she goes there. But not long after she's there, this really famous criminal named Aces breaks out of prison. Now, Ace was known for being particularly evil, and it is rumored that a conjurer is the one that helped them escape. So now Ella is facing a lot of speculation and doubt, and people are really doubling down on her not supposing to be there. So not only do you have this really amazing book about a school, a magical school, but you also are dealing with friendship, which of course, anytime you have a magical school story, there's going to be the main character bonding with some characters, right? And that is the case in here. But you're also dealing with people discriminating against her and just all kinds of other things that really make this book a lot richer than just a regular run-of-the-mill fantasy. And like I said, look at that cover. You just really want to be a part of this world. What I loved most about it, aside from all the really beautiful cultural associations, like I said, I love how detailed this is. Like everything that is going on in this book, in this story, at this magical school is explained in really great detail. So you could absolutely picture it. It's whimsical and beautiful. If you are a fan of the Nevermore series, the Morrigan Crow series, by Jessica Townsend, this reminded me a lot of that and had those types of vibes, which I absolutely adored. So, number 4 on the list, The Marvelers by Dhonielle Clayton. All right, moving right along, right? We've got number 5 and number 4. What is number 3? The Last Cuentista by Donna, Barba, Higuera. The Last Cuentista. First of all, here's another book with a cover that is just so stinking beautiful. I can't even handle it. Like, look at that. Even the back of it is it's just absolutely gorgeous. So this book is actually a Newbery Award winner as well. So this book is, and that was what actually brought it to my attention. I hadn't known much about it until I heard it won the Newbery, and I was like, well, I better read it. And I did, and I absolutely loved it. So this one is actually a science fiction story, and I don't think I have a, I thought there was maybe a map or a picture on the inside, but there's not to show you. But this book is a science fiction story, and it is about a young girl named Petra and her family. And basically, it starts out at kind of the end of the world, which is a little bit scary, right? But it's not really the end of the world, it's just the end of Earth. So Earth is falling apart, and there are this calamities happening, and people have to basically get off the planet. So Petra and her family are selected to be part of this expedition to travel out into space to find a new place to live. The only catch is they're going to have to all be put to sleep in this sort of suspended animation and then be woken up again when they get there. Now, the people that are going to be taking care of them have been selected too, watching over things, running the ship. They are not expected to make it to the place because it's going to be hundreds of years, right, before they get to where they need to go. So anyway, Petra goes in there. Her and her family have been, basically frozen, cryogenically frozen. They're put in these things. But when she wakes up, she finds that everything is not the way it was supposed to be. A ruthless organization has taken over the ship and has basically erased the memories of Earth that most of the people that were sleeping have. But for some reason, Petra's has not been erased. She still remembers everything. So this organization is trying to say that humanity was just evil and destructive, and we don't want anything to do with the way they lived before. We're starting a new thing over. But Petra is a storyteller, and she wants to keep these family histories and the cultural histories alive. So she has to keep telling these stories and just pretend that she hasn't been affected by, or that she has been affected by this memory serum or whatever that has taken away her memory. So this is really exciting book, but it's also very beautiful. It's very, very harrowing, very makes you think well, what would I do if I were in her situation, right? It's very amazing. Love the story. It's beautifully written, absolutely beautifully written. I can 100% understand why it won this award. It's just a perfect book in almost every way. The Last Cuentista. All right. Number 2. What could it be? What do you guys think? Boom. Zachary, Ying, and the Dragon Emperor by Xiran J. Zhao. Now, this is not a Rick Riordan Presents book, but it should be. And it's very similar to Rick Riordan Presents books. So I always tend to group it in those types of books because it reminds me so much of them, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. So this is about a young boy. It's about Chinese mythology and culture and folklore. And basically it is about this young boy who does not want to be a really knowledgeable about his heritage. His mom has really tried to instill in him a sense of cultural love, for China and the Chinese legends and everything, but he doesn't want anything to do with it. His dad died many years ago, and he just does not feel he just doesn't want anything to do with it. So his parents were Chinese Muslims, which was amazing to me because I didn't even know that was a thing. It shows you how little I know about a lot of stuff, because there is a lot of information here about them, and I didn't even know about that there was such a big Muslim population in China and how they are persecuted by the majority of China for their religious beliefs. So anyway, his dad died. He doesn't want anything to do with his culture or his background, until one day he finds out that he is actually supposed to be the host of the first emperor of China. However, when the first emperor of China is trying to bond with him, he fails. He does not merge with his body like he's supposed to, and actually bonds with his VR headset, which you can see right here. He's wearing these goggles. So now it's basically part cultural and mythology, part video game thing, because now he has this VR headset that allows him to connect with this emperor. So this book I loved for so many reasons. Xiran Zhao is becoming one of my favorite young adult authors. I love the stuff that she's written so far. This was her first like middle grade / children's fiction, and it's amazing. And I love her writing. Her writing is just so good. It tells an adventurous, fun story, but also tells a lot about Chinese mythology that I didn't know. I've read quite a few books that feature Chinese mythology, but this was the first one that really, really taught me a lot. But in a fun way, obviously. So it was absolutely fantastic. Loved it. Highly, highly recommend it. All right, so we are getting into our final book. #1 book of the year for children's fiction. What could it be? What do you think? Anybody have any ideas? Witchlings by Claribel Ortega. Witchlings. You may have been hearing some stuff about this book because it's been getting a lot of popularity, a lot of reviews, and for all the right reasons, because it's absolutely amazing. First of all, again, look at this cover. Super fun, right? So this is about a beautiful, magical little fantasy town, and in this town, when you reach a certain age, you basically are sorted into different magical covens. Okay, so Seven and her best friend are just dying to get into this really great one called the Hyacinth Coven, and there's all these different covens that you can be sorted into. She doesn't really care which one she gets into as long as she's not a spare. And a spare is basically a person who has a lower level of magical ability and is treated really terribly by the rest of the town. So on the night of the sorting ceremony, you guessed it, she becomes a spare. She's sorted as a spare along with 2 girls that she does not think she will ever be able to get along with. They are very, very different personalities, the 3 of them. So basically they have to go on this quest. They have a certain period of time to go on this quest to basically destroy or catch this magical beast. And if they're able to do that, they will not be spares. They will be saved this fee. But if they can't do it, then they will be spares forever, and their lives are going to be pretty much really bad. So the best part about this book, obviously the magic and the covens and everything about it is just so whimsical and fun and beautiful. But this is also such an amazing story about friendship, and that's what I really loved about this book. So this book takes these 3 girls who don't have a lot in common, come from different backgrounds, just have completely different personalities, and throws them together and says, hey, you have to work together for this common goal. And they fail miserably at first because they cannot get themselves together and get past their own, their own opinions and their own personalities. But once they do, and once they start working together, they find that they can accomplish anything. I love that. What a great, message, right? So great. And then also, like I said, there's magic. There is a frog race, which is hilarious. There are magical frogs in here, which are hilarious too. This book has everything. It is so, so good. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. Make it one of the first books you read in 2023 because it is fantastic. And the second book is coming out this year as well. So it's a great time to start this one. Witchlings. Well, that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that you really enjoyed these top 5 books that I read last year. Next week, I'm going to talk about 5 runners-up, so ones that were also really, really, really good. If you like this video, please give it a like. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of the day.